Alright, okay, so welcome back everybody to Blitz Wizard 94. Today we're going to be analyzing a tournament I just finished right now. It was the Autumn Open. Um, I had a decent performance. I can't quite complain. It was my first FIDE tournament ever since like a couple months ago or over a year ago. So, it's good to be back. It's good to have some opportunities, and I just want to show some of my games. So, yeah, let's get to it. Let me just adjust this. Okay, there we go. All right, so my first game was against a kid named Daniel Yang, and I'm not lying to you guys when I say this game. It practically destroyed me. This game was really long. Um, yeah, this game like I'm gonna be honest. Like this game took forever to finish. We were the last game standing, and it took us a long while, a very long while to finish this game. Just a really long while. Like, holy crap. If I could just find like the notation here, I could show it to you guys. But since I can't find all of them, I at least found these. Like, look at this. It was 3 sheets. I can't find the third one, but it was 3 sheets. And this game was really long. So again, let's just get into it. So um, we get e4, c6, d4, d5, and then Daniel goes for the exchange, so I thought, okay, it's gonna be comfortable. He has an 1800 rating, so I'm also 1800, but I'm very underrated. So I felt again like I wanted to really raise my FIDE, and seeing him as my first round opponent, I thought it was gonna be a really good, simple sweep. But again, it became complicated. So c takes d5, bishop d3, knight c6, c3, knight f6, h3. And after a couple moves we soon develop, I play bishop f5, hoping to trade off the bishops. I go rook c8, rook e1, a6, knight b2, rook e8, and now we get the move knight e5. And I apologize for all those in advance, but I do not know how to turn off the annotations. Now knight e5 seems like a simple move, obviously. He wants black to just trade off the knights, and we get a simple position. I was considering knight takes, bishop takes, and knight e7, but I thought this was just really not, it wasn't working out. Now I could still play this out for as long as I want to, but I wasn't liking my position. So instead, I thought knight e7, which again, ignoring the annotation, was more interesting, because I wanted to make the position dynamic. He soon plays g4, top move. I go bishop e6, bishop f3, knight f8, and after knight b3, aim to reroute the knight to c5. I go bishop c8, defending all my pawns on light squares, and preparing to go e6. He goes queen e2, I go rook e6, knight c5, I trade out a pair of rooks, I trade out a pair of knights, I go f6, and I go queen d7, we get rook e2, and bishop f7. And the whole idea is now is I'm aiming for this e5 idea. And then maybe I could also go for a minority attack with b5, a5, and hopefully I could, you know, have some opportunities to maybe rip apart against the structure and treat as like kind of like a liability for white. But it's hard. So we keep trying a couple more moves. Rook c8, and then he soon plays g5, which allows me the opportunity to play a5. And at this point, everything just turns around. We get h4, b5, b4, rook c6, bishop d6, queen c7, putting pressure on f4, rook f3, a5, a3, there. And after this trade, we'll notice a couple things in the position. One, the position is really unbalanced. You cannot really dictate who has any type of advantage. But again, it's a position. You gotta continue it. It might seem trivial, but we have the best thing that we can do here. And this is where the massaging just begins. Like, we just go around in circles. Well, I choose to go around in circles up until he makes a mistake. And this game, again, it took nearly 5 hours to finish first round. So rook a8. This is just shuffling. Like, analyze all this garbage. Like, look, we are. At one point, we trade off the rooks, but the game just continues going on. And for the past 20 moves, I was just waiting to get the right timing up until this moment where, at this moment, right, when I played Queen E8, I know that I am losing. Well, not losing, but I know I have a draw. I had 7 seconds left, and there's a delay. It's 30-second delay, no bonus time, there's no increment. It's an hour and 30 minutes, and with each move, it's just 30-second delay. So that makes it really, really tricky. 7 seconds, I'm just playing on pure inertia. And I also have to notate. So Queen A5 check, King C8, Queen A6 check, King C7, and then Queen A7. And here I gamble a lot. I play Bishop E7, allowing Queen A5, winning this really nice pawn, but he doesn't take it. He goes back because he was afraid of Queen H8. And again, the game just keeps continuing, defending pawn, etc., 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 until I get this really nice move of E5. And this is the move I was preparing for the last 30, 40 moves of the game, with the idea, if you take with the D pawn, you're obviously losing. I have Bishop B6, I win the queen, game over. And if you go F takes, I'm planning to take on B5. Now, potentially, I have some ideas of playing with these two passed pawns. The game is tricky, so instead, he decided to ignore it with King D2, but now just E4, here, here, here. And again, we've almost passed 50 moves, but every time I was preparing to sack a pawn or just make a capture or a pawn move, and I mean, luckily he gave me this idea of E5, and the game just continued. Look, it's already past 100 moves. We shuffle a bit more, shuffle, shuffle, queen here, and then I play bishop takes. With this really nice tactic, after queen takes, I take with the bishop. What was not seen in the game was after queen b8, king a6, and then queen c8, bishop b7, was that he had this drawing idea with queen c5. And the reason why is that I don't really have any moves. Even though I can win the bishop, let's say, look, I just take the bishop. He has queen d6, queen f4, and wherever he goes, it's just a triangle, it's just repetition. So I can't escape the perpetual, which is quite unfortunate. But in the game, under time pressure, again, we both have like 4 seconds, and we're just playing on delay. He plays queen e6, which just obviously loses, just king a7, beat the pawn. I play queen takes. I could have taken the bishop, but I didn't want to complicate myself. I'll do this way easier. Then after king f2, I just took. Then f4, bishop takes, check, check, e3, friendly mate. And then of course, again, time pressure. I noticed that I made a simple mistake, but again, I'm seeing the easy win. I go e2, and I don't take immediately because I thought there was some perpetual. I just check, take, check, check, and mate with d4. Really, really nice ending combination. The game lasted 130 moves, 132 moves to be more precise. First round, it's nice to be back to playing FIDE tournaments, but yeah, this is quite embarrassing to say the least. On my next round, I was paired up against one of the top leaders of the tournament. His name is Jan. I thought he was honestly Russian, but he's from Cuba. He's a really strong player, a FIDE master, so I was hoping to just get a good game. So let's see what we can do. I haven't tried to fit my repertoire, so let's see. I had white, so I thought I had something decent against them. E4, E5, knight F3, knight C6, bishop E5. I go for the Rulopas. We get A6, bishop A4, knight F6 castles, bishop E7, rook E1. All this theoretical up until this point with bishop E7. And here I thought I had good position. This is probably theoretical. Again, I don't know the theory like in depth, but I thought this was a really nice position that just randomly flows. Like you just got a good feeling about what you have to do, what plan you may come up with. So again, I just enjoyed my position. And after rook e8, I decided to go with his idea of bishop g5. That if he were to go h6, then I was planning on capturing, making this bishop maybe misplaced, and then going with d5. Either d5 or I probably would have taken. And then I got queen e2. That was what I would have done. Put the knight on b2. Maybe switch around, go knight e3. Again, just play normal chess and not really complicate myself. But he decides to go knight e7. I trade the bishops, queen takes, knight bd2, pawn takes, and now c5. Again, good position. I even have a total advantage if I just go d5. This kind of becomes like a Benoni. Because his knight is really, really misplaced. It's not on a good square. And he's not getting a really good position here. But again, I of course, I have nerves. I'm facing one of the top boards. I'm actually on the first board when I was playing this game. So, I was just trying to hold my own with knight f1, knight d4, rook b1, queen f6, and knight g3. After g6, bishop d3, this really interesting move where it seems I'm losing this pawn. My whole idea was that bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes. This endgame could be held. But apparently what he had miscalculated was, he has knight c5 and it kind of looks tricky here because he's coming in with knight d3. But again, he did not go for this. He decided to move the knight back, thinking it was not worth it. I go bishop f1, rook c8, and then b3, so that if he ever goes c4, I can just take. And then we just trade everything off. I go rook d1, top move. We trade pieces, rook a1, knight c5, a3, rook e8, and bishop c4. Again, all the top moves up until knight b6. And this is what I had calculated for a couple times. But I misevaluated how tough this is going to be. Because after a takes, rook takes d4, I'm just assuming b takes c5, we trade everything off. Yeah, it's 4 against 4. But this pawn could be such a advantage for black. And you're going to see how. Rook a5, rook c8, king there, rook c2, king g1, and now f5. And black's concept is really simple. Just bring the king in. This pawn is going to be a liability. And my pieces are just really badly coordinated. I'm just tied down to this pawn. So we get f3, f1, king here, and now bishop c6. Really amazing move. If I were to take the a6 pawn, you have rook takes f1 to the face. And if I take the rook, then bishop b5 check comes. King after bishop takes c6. Game over. Goodbye, FIDE. Goodbye, any good chances, and time to go home. But instead, I did not do that. I played knight to e3. We got bishop b5 anyways, and now g4. Again, I'm just trying to liquidate pawns. Knight to d5. Finding the only good defenses in the position. We get rook c2, king g1, rook c1, back. And then he finally decides to trade. I take the f4 pawn, rook c4, knight d5, knight there. And again, now Jan is winning. And he thought this was actually really trivial. But I found this really nice move. After trading the rooks, I go f4. And my king is somehow in time to just stay in. And the only way that he could try to go for advantage is to move with king d6. Because after king f2, I'm assuming he has king c5. No, yeah, king c5, f5. And just g5. Just ignore everything that's on the king side and just try to push the pawn. But again, it didn't look so simple to me. He was under time pressure, and at the end he decided after f4 to go bishop b3 and just escort the pawn, thinking I couldn't catch it. But, or maybe he saw that I could catch it, but he thought that my king would be distracted and he would have to pass pawn on the queen side, or on the king side, sorry, to me more frankly. But my king made it in time. I was able to just push my pawns right away. I traded, and then I played knight f5. Point that even if he takes my knight, I just take back and take. And this bishop is just on the wrong color. I can just swing back and forth, and it's just going to be a draw at the end of the day. So after here, we ran out of any more space to write our score sheets. I was going to ask the arbiter to bring more score sheets, but, he said, nah, it's just a draw, and I told him, oh, you're offering a draw? Yeah, so that's how our game ended. 2300 rated player. I am actually really proud of this game. I played a really good game. It was out of my control, really, but I had white, I held my own. He hasn't played in the last 2 years, so I gotta get credit where it's due. I mean, he's not really informed, but I still held my own and I played a really nice game. And then we go to our third game, which was against a guy named Raymond. I like black pieces, and I decided again, I wanted to just remain solid, play a very, very, decent game. Try not to complicate myself too much, and just play chess, just not complicate myself. So we get e4, c6, e4, d5, e5, a6. And again, this a6 move, again, I got pioneered by this IM named Mats Lu. He gave me this really innovative idea of just negating practically all theory, all the lines are complicated, like the Tau, the Van der Weer, like all these like really crappy, annoying lines that black has to deal with. And my opponent, he was actually shocked. He was actually burned a lot of time playing knight f3. But now I already felt comfortable because bishop g4, bishop d3, and he sits. Again, the game plan is simple for black. I'm just trying to put my knights on e7, d7, and play c5. Break up the structure, and if I want a simple game plan, I'll just play knight c6, and boom, that's it. Black is already pretty good here. He played bishop g5, which I didn't really understand. Because after h6, bishop takes. Again, now I have won the bishop pair. I'm preparing c5. And now, the only downside of this line with a6 is just that you're down a tempo. But now that white wasted a temple. Black already is not just equal, but already fighting for advantage. So I felt really happy. We got knight bd2, c5, and here he just takes. I take. I don't really take back. I was debating whether or not to take, but I just played knight d7 instantly. Again, this is a really simple pattern. These pawns are both not defended. Let's say he were to go b4. I had knight takes c5, and if h3, I mean again, I thought bishop takes, knight takes, and let's say knight takes c6. I thought this would be really interesting. Again, just castles, and black's position is really simple. We're gonna go b6, take this apart, put the rooks on the file, something like this. It would just be really simple to play with. And let's say he didn't. Let's say he played rook e1, defending my pawn. Well, again, no, I just take simply, and I think this is what happened in the game, really. Well, no. After knight d7, he played h3 first. I took, he took, and I played on c5. I took on c5, frankly, sorry. Yeah, I took on c5, queen b6. We get rook b1, defending the b2 pawn. I castle c3, knight takes, queen takes, rook c8. And here we're just shuffling back and forth. But again, here I'm provoking to make his own liabilities. He starts with a3, he begins playing g3, but he never really prioritizes any plan with the king side, with the queen side. Actually, no, yeah, the king side. Sorry, I keep confusing him. Sorry, but like he never really prioritizes any plan on playing on the king side. He never starts his flank attack. Never brings the rook over to the f file or h file. Goes h4, g4, g5. So he just gives me a lot of free time to work with here. And after queen c5 and c4, I'm offering an endgame. I'm just beginning to just push with the minority attack. And he tries to ignore it, and he just keeps giving me free moves. I just go b5, queen c4, up until this pivotal moment where I played d4. And at this point, I thought he was going to play rook e4, or just take. Taking would have been a really nice way. I was just thinking of taking with the bishop. My bishop has really nice scope. Again, the game continues, and it would have been a very... I would have to prove my technique here in order to convert it. But instead of doing that, he used to take with just a really terrible blunder. Because now I have this Zug, or, intermediate move of d takes c3, attacking the queen. He goes b3, then I take the knight, and everything's just simple here. Rook e3, again, not hitting both pawns, so this game was practically over. I took, we swap pawns, we go here, here, shuffle, 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 up until this point, pivotal moment where I played queen b7 check, thinking he might have done queen b3, and it would have been a lot tricky if he played this king h2 move, and this is where I calculated for a bit and thought just queen e4 just wins if he does straight. And I thought it was the most simple way to convert, because after he goes rook b3, I had this nice move with rook c2. He went king g1, and I would have gone rook e2, and in the game I was calculating rook f1 and rook b2. And here I'm winning, but I gotta prove it. And after rook b5, again, this is winning, but you gotta show it. I thought this was the most convincing line that converted simply, and oh my god, I got like a little bit of cramp, but it's fine. Cramp happens. Yeah, after that, rook here, he did not go rook f1, which I thought was the best defense. He instead took, which blew my mind, to be honest. I thought that was just pure suicidal. Just rook takes f2, and he tried rook f4, trapped the rook. I just played check, king f1, I took. He gave me a spy jack. I went king h7 after take, rook c5, and he just resigns because he's gonna lose the e5 pawn. The h3 pawn is weak. The king is wide open. This is just simply easy conversion. So again, really nice game. I didn't really do much. I just applied basic principles. I had a really nice position. I used some simple maneuvering, with the minority attack. Played a simple plan with black and the a6 caro. Again, thank you to Matt Slew. Really appreciate it. And then we go over to my fourth game on the last day. I was playing against this really strong player from the UK. He's a British chess player. His name is Slade. Really like his name, Slade. He had like 2,000 elo. He's a national master, by the way. Really, really strong guy. Who I've seen a lot from the club, from my local club, and he's a really, really strong player. Now, before I go into this game, I wanted to give some context. Like, I felt a little bit woozy coming in on the morning. Like, I don't know, I just felt a little bit dizzy. Probably didn't get like a good enough sleep last night. So, again, when I went to the board, I came a little bit late. I realized I was waking up late. So, yeah, I just want to try my best. So I was preparing a little bit against Slade. I played e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop b5, knight f6. Well, no, and when he played knight f6, I was surprised because the moves I was looking at that he played some Braga, he played this g6 ideas, just trying to go for bishop g7. Then he did a6, but against me, he just goes knight f6 right away. So at this point, I'm like, okay, yeah, I feel dizzy. I haven't ate anything. You know, I'm just gonna castle. Knight takes e4, d4, knight d6 takes. And this off theoretical, and then we just do a repetition, and it is a draw. So not much to say. Again, I felt dizzy. I didn't eat anything, and again, I also had this really nice clock, which is really awesome. This is the Chronos. It's hard to get these clocks because they usually cost around now like 500, 400. Some people even sell them for like 1,000. Well, not 1,000, but you get the point. Like they're really rare to find. I like the button ones. These are really good. I just wish this was like the mini one, but I just wrote my name on the back so I people don't try to steal it. This clock, the sailor, thank you again for selling me this clock. She sold it to me for like 220, so I was really happy. Also, the night prior on Saturday, I won the Blitz, and then Sunday, I was able to win the clock. So again, I'm really grateful for that. Thank you for the Chronos. Now I finally have a Chronos. That was really nice to do. And yeah, I mean, in my last game, this was the pivotal game. I felt better. I went back to the board, and I was playing this National Master Nick Moore again, another strong player, one of the top seeds. He had white, I have black, and let's just see how it goes. We get c4, e5, g3, knight c6, bishop g2, knight f6, and I don't know. Again, I don't know much theory. I just try to play basic moves or patterns that I've seen from other players' games. So this just looked like a Sicilian to me. I just go bishop c5, e3, castles, knight 2, and he just tried to prepare d4, which worried me on how to play against that stuff. Because again, I don't know much theory. I just tried to play calm. He took back, and after d4, I took, and played c6, which is a really crucial move. Knight b3, bishop b4, check, bishop d2, I took, and after queen takes, I went d6. And my whole idea was that after castles, I would play this move c5. And I thought I had a really decent position. Let's say rook c1, I go b6. He goes f4, I go f5. And now I have this position, the structure's locked. He could get like e4, for example. But at the end of the day, I mean, if we do all these trades, like, black has a really solid position. And we can even go for advantage with queen f6, bring the rooks over to the e file. It looks like a simple position with the structure, which is why he didn't allow us. He wanted to play against my liability, so he just took and made my structure a weakness. He took, I took back, and he just castled. And here he just played d5, and here I was under evaluating my position. I thought it was just a simple, position that could be played, but I just misevaluated. After knight c5, rook b8, he goes b3 defending a b2 pawn. I go rook d8, rook c3, bishop b7, and I feel like my bishop just needs to go on e5. Sorry, I need to go on e8 to not only defend c6, but also defend f7. And then also my knight could just finally maybe reroute to e5 where it would be more useful. Or go to c8, d6, and then b5 square. Again, I felt like I needed to just, put my pieces on better squares. So knight takes. But here he surprised me. He played knight takes. I took back. We get rook c1, queen b4 with the idea, let's say, maybe he miscalculates thinking this is May, I just take the queen, but, I was just thinking, he moves the rook, I trade the queens, this endgame should be fun and fine for black. But, queen b4, we get queen c2, and I go for f5. Again, I'm trying to win. I was thinking of just not allowing e4, simply wanting to go g6 and just play casual chess. So, yeah, we get rook d3, queen d6, rook d4, rook b4, trying to trade rooks. Queen d2, takes, and now king f7, h4. He just wants to try a little bit of a flank attack, maybe get some weaknesses out of me, because again, I do have 3 pawn islands, he only has 2, so he can push if he wants to. I thought queen f6, again, if he trades, this endgame is really comfortable for black. So again, he decides to keep the queens on the board. We get queen e5, bishop f3, g6, king g2, king g7, rook c5, h6, going for g5, we get b4, g5, takes, and now king g1. And again, I felt like, if we look throughout this game, he had +1 maybe +2, mostly due to the space advantage. But if you were to disregard the space advantage, like his bishop is just buying on granite, because it's just buying into these pawns. It has like no real scope, and my queen is just guarding all the dark squares. So I felt really really comfortable. And not only that, my rook could just go in b7 and just again just ask him the question what's gonna happen to his b4 pawn, and that's what I eventually did. So bishop g2, rook b7, bishop f1, king f7, a3, queen e6, queen c1, just trying to put pressure, queen d6, bishop d3, rook b8. After rook a5, I found this really nice plan with going rook h8. So let's say he just took the pawn right here, like rook takes a7. I would have queen h6, just threatening mates. And a really, really cool move. Let's just say he wanted to defend that. So let's say he goes bishop f1. I still can go queen h6. And the whole idea is after bishop g2, I go queen h2, king f1, and go queen h1 check. Which is so stupid. You know, just bishop takes, rook takes. And the queen is just misplaced on c1. Now I can just take it, I'm just up a knight. Which is so, again, this is just bullshit. But it's completely ridiculous. He actually pointed out to the game, like, bro, like, I can't believe my queen is just misplaced. That's just really ridiculous idea. So yeah, it would have been funny and awesome if he did go bishop f1, but he did queen f1. Of course, he found the best move. The other good move, which is apparently holds, is e4, which I do not understand at all. I thought this was just lose after d takes, but apparently bishop e2 and you're supposed to hold this, which again looks inhuman. So yeah, queen f1. I did queen h6, queen g2 only move. And here I sacked this pawn with d4, which is a blunder. But we both had like 17 minutes. Maybe he could have found like the right continuation. Well, I had 17 minutes. He had like 25 minutes, I think. And the best move is just to take. And after e takes, just takes on g4. And I don't know why. If I had e2 here, but he can just take. And yeah, just nick. He just missed a simple tactic. I guess we just both hallucinated. I mean, again, last round, we're both trying to win. He's more worried about the attack. So, again, he thought that rook e3 was just more natural. I can't really blame him. So I just took. I was actually thinking of queen d6, but this actually loses. Queen d6 would have been a terrible blunder in this position because he just goes bishop c4, king takes. Oh, no, not king takes, sorry. King c8. And then just move like rook e6, and I'm just completely dead lost. Let's say king d7. And I can go e4, the queen's gonna enter the game, and my king's wide open. Or not even that, I thought you could just... Can he take? No. Nah, it doesn't matter, yeah. Queen d6 would have been terrible. I just took... He went check, I went back, and then rook takes, and I went queen f6. Only move to find any type of real chances of holding. He goes rook e1, I go queen t3, forking both pieces. And at the end of the day, it's really hard to blame me. Like, I mean, well, it's really hard to blame Nick for this because, again, at this point he is losing. Well, not losing, but like he's not comfortable anymore. I go queen f3, he goes queen g2, and I go queen t3. And here, again, queen f1 only move, queen c, queen f3. This is the second repetition, and at that point, like I just look at his eyes and I just put my hand up. He's like, yeah, draw. So it is quite unfortunate. He did point out after the game that he could potentially after queen g2, I could have declined the repetition with queen takes a3, but I didn't think this was worth it. Just b5. If I take, this just looks really dangerous with queen e8 coming in. Like it does not look like a position I would want to enter. It just felt like I had more liabilities and more weaknesses. I should be more afraid of where my king is placed. But with all being said and done, again, I did finish on a plus score. I did win. According to USCF, I think I won 14 points a rating. I will now be like 2248, so that's a new peak. That's really cool. And besides that, I got the Chronos. It's like magic to my ears. It's one of the best clocks in the world. Really rare to get nowadays, so that's a plus side. I won $100 in the Blitz tournament. I also won the Blitz, and then $100 my father gave it to me. This cost $220, so I got it at a cheap price. Not cheap price, but no, cheaper than most sellers sell the clock for. So it is what it is. So I got the Chronos. And then at the end, I did tie for a fourth. I got like $50, but nah, you know, it's time to go back home. It was really cool here, staying in Orlando for a couple of days. Seeing a lot of fun. I mean, again, I just can't complain. I had a decent tournament. Yeah, like no losses. I did what I was supposed to. I beat you know I beat an 1800. Then I drew one of the leaders. Maybe I could have done something, but it was just hard. And then third round I beat a 1900 or 1800 again. And then against Slade again, I just felt dizzy. It was in the morning. I didn't really eat anything, and I was coming in late. Uh, I didn't really feel like trying much, so I just wanted to get a draw. I would try if he had run into the prep that I was just trying to like lure him in, but he didn't. He just played a Berlin, which surprised me, and I was just inclined to just draw and just get it over with and just go eat something because I also wanted to buy the Chronos. I was really worried that they would close up the shop in the morning, so again, I didn't really hesitate. I just made a quick draw, went back there, bought the Chronos, and then went straight to a Wendy's, which was across the street. So again, yeah, I was really hungry, really, really dizzy. But then after the Wendy's, I felt better. And against Nick again. I mean, what can you do? I mean, if I was had having like a practical position that I could maybe play on and just hopefully squeeze something out of, but it just wasn't meant to be. And a player of Nick's caliber, again, it is to be expected, one of the top seeds. He has won this event a couple times throughout the past few years, so credit to him. First time I ever played him, I think I've played him online too, so it was really nice getting to meet him, getting to also meet some other people. Shout out to Ryan Hamley, and my a good friend, Brijesh Chakravarti. He's really really strong player. Also, Jan, the FM. I call him Jan el Pan, porque es flan. But joking aside, Jan is a really strong player. I actually thought he was Russian, which again it just made me laugh. But he's actually Cuban. I thought I was like the only Hispanic player playing the event, because I mostly saw Indians and Asians. But again, you know, Jan is really strong. Brijesh is super strong. Then we got also Jorge Leon, another strong player. He rarely plays. He's like a veteran in the field. So again, really big credit to him. And yeah, I think that's it, to be honest. Nick Moore, Ryan Hamley, Brijesh, Jorge, Jan. Again, thank you guys for the tournament. Thank you for the organizers, Steven, and the Central Florida Chess Organization, in Orlando, for hosting these tournaments. I really appreciate it. I'm just trying to raise up my FIDE elo. This is the first FIDE tournament I've played in a long while, so I'm just glad to be returning. So yeah, um, 3.5 out of 5. I wish it was 4, but what can you do? Sometimes you just don't feel like playing. Sometimes you just feel dizzy, or sometimes you just feel hungry and you just don't really want to play. So I feel like the only thing I regret is just the draw with Slade, because it wasn't really much effort in it. But again, these things happen. We can't have it all. But hey, I want some Milo. I want a little bit of cash, and I have a fun time. So yeah, hopefully I'm looking forward to playing an event like this in Orlando in the future. But for right now, just returning back home. In October, I will play a normal event. I will try visit a different country and a different tournament. Just go maybe around the world. I'm just gonna try just go to 2000 before the year's over. So yeah, I'll recap it. But alright, thank you guys for watching this video, and see you next time. Alright, Blitz Wizard out.